up to 140 life. We get 20 more triggers on the Pridemates. Okay, Wizards, today I have a cat deck for you. I really like tribal, especially monocolor tribals, and this one is not going to rotate anytime soon. All but 2 cards in this deck are foundations, and so they won't rotate out, I think, for 3 years or more. So you've got this deck for a long time. There are a couple rare wild cards that I think are necessary. First, Fang here. Other cats you control get +1/+1. It creates another cat. It's a 2/2 on its own. Super good card. You actually don't need a ton of them too, because they are legendary. I would not go up over 3. In fact, I felt just fine with 2, especially since there is another lord in the deck. Regal over here is a other cats you control get +1/+1, have lifelink, and it creates 2 1-lifelinkers of its own. It is 3 and 2 white though, so it is much more expensive than pretty much every other card in this deck. But overall, it is certainly worth running. I would certainly consider going up to at least 2 on this. I just happen to only have 1, so I did try that because I wasn't sure the card was good. That was a mistake on my part. It is very good. Run this, probably drop some Pride colors if you want them. The other important card here is Claws Out. This is actually a 2 cost, not a 5 cost, because it costs 1 less for each cat you control when you cast it. And if you're casting this, you should have at least 3 cats up. This just says creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. That is huge when you're in a locked up board state or need to be a little bit more aggressive before control sweeps you away. Really good card, and more or less makes the deck what it is. The rest of the cards here are really just cats that do something. We've got Smite to blow away some cards. The Exile effect helps us get through things like Glissa and Mono Red's destroy creature, deal damage to you, or Fling's abilities if we can get it in time. Vanguard cat heals us +1/+1 to itself. Savannah Lions is actually vanilla 2/1, but it's a cat and it does wonderful things. Until we get another 1-drop lion or cat, this stays in the deck and it does enough work. Ajani's Pridemate, not much needs to be said about this. 1 white, +1/+1 when you gain life. We don't have a lot of life gain in this deck, but we have enough to make it worth it, and of course, it's a cat. Feather of Flight, +1/+0 and has flying, and it draws a card when it enters. I really like this card for a little bit of evasion. We don't have a lot of it in the deck. This can help you get through sometimes. Helpful Hunter, cat that draws you a card. Sheltered by Ghost, do I need to say more? Skyknight Squire, really solid card here. Whenever another creature you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. If you have 3 or more counters, it has flying. Really good, especially something like the first Fang. It's not uncommon to get 4 counters on this in a turn. Your opponent more or less has to kill this off with a kill spell, or they will lose the game. Flanker can come in to exile target player's graveyard, is really important in the Reanimator matchups. Gain 2 life, scry 2 is nice, and if your opponent sweeps your board and you happen to have 3 mana open and this in hand, you can flash it in and get a +1/+1 counter for each creature you lost. Really solid. Prideful Parent is just a 2/2 that creates an extra cat, but it also has Vigilance, which we don't see elsewhere. And then Ajani. Ajani is a Planeswalker. +1, put a +1/+1 counter, -3, target creature gains flying and double strike. This is probably the first card I would cut. In my 20+ games with this deck, I just didn't feel like this card was doing enough work. But I don't have anything else that I'm jumping at the 3 cost value to go put in the deck either. That said, if you don't own it yet, I would not spend the Mythic wild cards on it. There is the possibility that the -3 comes in, gives you flying and double strike, and wins you the game. And in some really rare cases, maybe the -8 gives you enough cats to help get in for the win. I haven't seen it. Maybe you will. I hope so. And then lands. Lands are really simple. Play your favorite planes. These are not my favorites. They're just what the game gave me. All right. That is everything to say about cats. Pretty straightforward deck. Really fun tribal and sticking around forever. Let's go ahead and get into the game. All right, playing against Ajani with the Ajani avatar. Ajani with Ajani. All right, triple planes, double Savannah Lions, Pridemate, and Prideful Parent. This is a fine opening hand. Certainly not amazing. We lack a lot of our interaction. But being able to curve out into Savannah Lions, Pridemate, and Prideful Parent doesn't feel bad at all. Opponent plays Plains and Hinterland Sanctifier. That's not too bad for us. I am going to swing first and see if they want to sacrifice the Hinterland Sanctifier. It would be better for me than for them. They do realize that. We'll go ahead and play Ajani's Pridemate next. So this is either bats or bunnies. It's neither. It's Bitter Reunion? The Boros? Is this a reanimator deck? It might be the Raise the Past Bunnies deck. Okay. That's pretty annoying if it is. We'll go ahead and play Prideful Parent here. Opponent will probably let us in for free, so we're going to swing with the Pridemate. We have the second one if they decide the Hinterland Sanctifier is a good change. I mean, it wouldn't have killed it, so almost certainly not. Opponent hits their land drop 2, which is unfortunate for us, because this is going to be a close game. Heir Apparent number 1 comes down. They gain 1 life. Presumably they don't swing here. We want to find our claws out. I was going to say, if they actually could get away with that, because I would expect Smite and not do anything. I don't think this opponent plays board wipes. Oh, actually they might. Right, I've seen this kind of deck play Judgment Day instead of the Exile one. Kill everything and then raise the past it. So actually we will hold back just 1 card. So that we can start rebuilding that board. Because they don't rebuild quickly, but they do rebuild. They go ahead and let that face. That's down to 8. But if they've got Judgment Day, it would be next turn if they hit the land drop. It's not. It's Heir Apparent number 2. Again, Claws Out does so much damage for us. So much. Heir Apparent number 3 comes down. They go up to 13 life, and now they've got a board. Now we're basically playing Stalemate. We find the Regal, though. That's pretty big. How's our board state against theirs? Almost everything we have is a 3 something. They'd have to do some pretty heavy blocking here, right? Like the 1/1s don't do enough. I guess they could 3 up on the Pridemate. Maybe we just swing everything but the Pridemate. Let the Pridemate give a bunch of lifelink. Does it all count as 1 here? I don't recall. I don't think so. I don't really run life gain decks that often. Alright. It does not. It counts as multiple. So Ajani's Pridemate is now a 7/7. Just massive boy there. Heir Apparent number 4 comes down. They get 4 more bunnies. Or 3 more bunnies. Gain 3 more life. 4 more life because the Heir Apparent is included in that calculation. That was still pretty big for us. They can't swing in. The 5th Heir Apparent comes down. Oh boy, they are getting their deck to work too. They're back up to 20 life. Like, we basically haven't hit them. Sanctifier doing so much work for them. We need... Ooh, Ajani's Pride Color would be good. Claws Out would be good. Firstborn would be okay. The Flanker is fine. We'll play the Flanker. We'll do gain 2 life, scry 2 here. Smite and Helpful Hunter just aren't it. We'll bottom those 2. Oh yeah, I did miss the chance to get more life off Pridemate. That's my bad. Don't be like me, be a better player. And now I think we swing everything but the Pridemates and the Regal. The Pridemates get huge after this. It's also really hard for them to swing in at us because we do have a ton of lifelink. Regal doing the most work I've seen thus far. Yep. I mean, they're just mostly chump blocking here. They're not even actually killing any of my creatures, which is kind of meaningful for me. Like, I go up to 48 HP, didn't lose any of my creatures. Get 12 Ajani's Pridemate triggers. I now have a 14 and a 9. And if they board wipe, we come out pretty well against that. Or rather, they take almost as much problem as we do. Now, if they have another Heir Apparent, if it's Heir Apparent number 6, which it is. They've got a ton more bunnies. 5 more bunnies, 6 more life. Up to 26. It's a big deal. And Claws Out does not give us trample. Like, really what we'd like to see here is the Ajani so that we can do double strike and flying. At least I think that's what its -3 is. I've never actually used it in a game. I don't play a lot of white. At least not mono white. Yeah, I think all attack. Swing with the 14. Don't swing with the Regal. Everything else is fine. Prideful Parents have that vigilance. This is not easy for them to keep up with either. Like, we keep drawing more cats too. They're not killing our cats with their tokens because they're so busy blocking and making sure they still gain life that they're not really getting any tokens left over at the end of the day. Like, they're even going to take 2 here, I think, because they don't want to sacrifice any of the Heir Apparents. Nope, they go ahead and take out the 4/2 with it, which I think is reasonable. This is going to be so much more life, though. We get in for 2. We go up to 81 freaking life, get 16 triggers for the Ajanis. So they're going to go up 8 more apiece. And our board state's huge. They have to keep drawing Heir Apparents too. Otherwise, eventually this wins for us. They find Bitter Reunion. And this is the one you can sack and give haste to everything? It is. So they discard a land, draw 2 more cards. Presumably they found another Heir Apparent there. Like, I don't know exactly the ratio of this deck. I haven't built a Heir Apparent deck yet. I probably should. But I presume that there's just, like, massive quantities of Heir Apparents. Ooh, what are you? Oh, Impact Tremors. They binned the Impact Tremors? What? Isn't that the path to victory for them right there? Also, that's gorgeous artwork. Jeez. Planes for us. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I think we swing all, hold back the Regal. Force them to block this. I mean, the Pridemates on their own are dang near lethal. We almost don't need the Regal anymore. They're so big. They're going to kill some of our cats this time, right? But this is still going to be so backbreaking. It looks like we're actually going to get rid of every single one of their hairs. So either they've found Rays from the past, or we've won. We're also a wing card for us. And then Johnny's Pridemate comes down. It's really small against ours, though. I think we can probably swing just the Ajani's Pridemates this turn. Are they going to try to get in? Nope, they go ahead and scoop. Okay, hard to blame them. We were in a really strong position there. Alright, playing against TYR. Kind of a rough opening hand on the 1 planes. We can hold up Smite turn 1 and that's it. If we get a second land, this deck is actually pretty good. But we only have a 34% chance to do that. So I think we got to take the mulligan here. We find 2 planes in the next hand. Pridemate, Ghost, Collar the Pride Ajani, first Fang, and Flanker. I think we can safely bin the Flanker here. Drop the turn 1 planes, pass. And as long as opponent doesn't reveal they are a cares about graveyard deck, we're not feeling too bad about that. Opponent plays Hopeless Nightmare. I think it's the Ajani here. That sucks, but I think that's right. Play our second planes, play the Helpful Hunter we just drew for that free card draw. Find the next planes, really important. And I think my play here is swing Helpful Hunter if they don't have anything. They actually shoot the Sheriff on the Hunter. That was rude as heck to that cat. I still think I'm going first Fang here. Gets me multiple creatures. Do we think they're Dimir Bounce? I mean, they just showed us Swamp and shoot the Sheriff so far. This is looking more and more likely to be mono black. Deep Cavern Bat comes down. I'm actually okay with whatever card they take here. It's probably going to be the Sheltered. And if it's the Feather of Flight and I draw a land, I'm going Pridemate Sheltered. So I think they have to take our Sheltered or our Ajani. And I'm okay playing the other cards, even if that's what happens. But I'm taking a long time to make this decision, though. They decide to go with the Ajani. Very interesting, because I can just Sheltered and take that back. Tiny Bones comes down. We actually find Smite too. That's huge. I'm going to go ahead and... Ooh, yeah. I think we'll go ahead and Feather of Flight the first Fang. Draw a card. Swing in. See how they want to block. They don't know we have the Smite now. And in fact, I'm happy to Smite the Pickpocket, send it to exile. Get in for 3. They go down to 17. We can still shelter whenever we want, and we probably will shelter the first Fang next turn. Make sure they have a harder time removing it. And go ahead and get our Pridemate back as well. Play the Vanguard next turn. Leonin of the Veil comes down. Probably does a -2 sack.
You're telling me what
Yep. We can get rid of the little kitty, though. So Liliana does not do the work it needs to do. Ruthless Negotiation comes in. We'll go ahead and exile Vanguard. Is what it is. They'll get in for 1 here. Not too big of a deal. Prideful Parent. I think we killed the Liliana. And then Prideful Parent here.
I know when I'm not wanted.
Get multiple cats, set up for next turn, and then we can always shelter the ghost. Sheltered by Ghost, the next card that comes down. But the Deep Cavern Bat just isn't a priority target for me, even though it's stolen something. Thoughtstalker Warlock comes down, takes it out of the playing field. I'm not overly concerned. The Ajani is a good card, but it's not so good that it can't sit there. I mean, honestly, we don't even have any lifelink right now anyways, because they got rid of the Shelter by Ghost. And the other card. Really, I think what I want to find now is Claws Out. Claws Out just wins this game for us. They'll probably... Good game. Did they scoop? I mean, they've got some options. They go ahead and go for the Scry. I think you can play this even when you know the opponent doesn't have 5 cards. Yeah, so they could also Ruthless Negotiation flashback to the draw. It's not amazing. They hit us for 1 and go ahead and scoop. Do we actually have lethal there? 6, 8, 11? No, but oh well. Ranking up to Diamond 2 here with this Cats deck. Feeling pretty good. Gotta be one of the only games I played where I was happy to let Sheltered by Ghost go. That was wild. And what do we get? Master 79. One of the avatars I don't remember the name of. One of the Ixalan people. Double Plains, Helpful Hunter, Sheltered by Ghost, Prideful Parent, Claws Out. The double Helpful Hunter isn't bad. It helps make this a real hand. I think we go ahead and keep it. The Shelter by Ghost is also really meaningful against a lot of potential opponents. What art are they running here? Are these Baldur's Gate? That's amazing. The Demir colors, though, are not amazing. They get rid of our Shelter by Ghost. We find Pridemate off the top. Not awful, not amazing. Helpful Hunter draws us into Skyknight Squire, which isn't bad. They show us white-black now. Go ahead and get in for 1 with the Helpful Hunter after playing Skyknight Squire. I really think our path to victory here is just dropping more creatures. Unfortunately, Virtue with the good art comes out. I guess we do Helpful Hunter this turn. So they're very much a control-y style deck. We draw Savannah Lions, which is not what we need. I suppose we can do Pridemate next turn if we don't draw land. Otherwise, we're doing a Prideful Parent. The Infiltrator comes down. Which is what? Menace, 2/3. Whenever the Infiltrator and 1 or more non-token creatures control enter, no more cast or no mana was spent to cast them, draw a card. Okay. Well, we're going to play Prideful Parent. We can't really swing in here. It's not worth killing off our cats for. We could have done Pridemate or Savannah Lions, held up the Smite and killed that off. I don't really know that that's the card I want to be smiting right now. I suppose what I really want to see is what the opponent's going to do. They don't do anything. So I guess we play Helpful Hunter here. Get the 3rd card draw. This has been great to grab all these Helpful Hunters. Find the Vanguard. That can be played next turn. I want to hold up Smite this turn, swing in all of this damage. I could actually hold up Smite and just let him kill off 1 of the Helpful Hunters. I don't think we do that, though. I think we go ahead and Smite it. Yeah, I think the math is there. If we don't, we lose a cat and they get a blocker. And if we do, they lose a blocker and we keep an extra cat for the claws out. Cease. Opponent just mills some of our graveyard. That's fine. Heals 2 life, which is unfortunate, but that's fine. So do we do claws out next turn, or do we do the Pridemate Vanguard combo? Opponent playing a little slow, but presumably they have board wipes. Deep Cavern Bat comes down, so I guess opponent gets to decide what we're doing now. If they take one of the 2 Vanguard Pridemate combo pieces, we can play claws out, but they take the claws out, so that answers that. We do find Ajani. Does Johnny do much of anything important for us right now? I don't think so. We go Pridemate, Vanguard. They're probably not going to block anything, so we get to swing pretty big here, which makes last turn's decision better as well. They take 6, go down to 12. Feeling pretty good here. Ajani's Pride color of the Pride can come down, and then Pridemate can be a flying 4/4 double strike. They need to have a board wipe here, I think. They go up to 13, hold open 4 mana. I think they could have swung Fortress. No, Fortress costs 4 mana to make a creature. What you gonna do, Master? Master 79. You got mana. 3 steps ahead, draw 2, discard a card. So they're looking for answers that they're not finding. This is really good for us. They took the claws out because it would have been lethal. They get her out of the sacrifice card. That's interesting. They do play another Plains. We can actually play Savannah Lions first. They do have stick for it. Do we want to play the Ajani Pridemate to this? Or do we say one more turn? It's not lethal either way, right? So I think we're just going to go to attack. In fact, maybe we don't even play out the Prideful Parent here, in case they have, like, Blasphemous Edict or something. It was the Get Lost. Okay, that's fine. I think I'm going to go ahead and Johnny's then.
I will fight for those who cannot.
Put it on the Prideful Parent.
Let me show
They
you
can go up to 6 lands this turn, which means they still can't Virtue. Virtue is now too slow of a clock for them. Second Deep Cavern Bat comes down. They steal our Prideful Parent. They knew that was the only card in our hand, though, so if that was their best play, that's not a particularly great play. And that's turn. Okay. We find Sheltered by Ghost, which is amazing, because now we put that on the Prideful Parent. If that resolves, we get Claws Out back, and we're certainly winning the game. They go ahead and get lost our Prideful Parent, though, so no biggie there. We'll go ahead and give these to the Savannah Lion, I think. Vanguard is fine off the top. Double Strike or +1? I think it's +1. We'll spread that out just a little bit. And then swing. And they're still taking 4 here. Could we have made that lethal? I think we could have made that lethal. Whoops. Bad counterplay on my part. Alright. We do get both cards back. Can't do anything with them. Although we could recover our board state pretty quickly even if they did the thing here. I think they wanted to get to Virtue, though, and though they could Virtue now if they play another land this turn, it won't be enough. Presumably, opponent's going to scoop here. Unless they draw something like Blasphemous Edict or Malicious Eclipse or whatever. Nope, they go ahead and scoop, and that's GG. Won quite a few games with cats here. I almost want to keep playing them, but I got other decks I got to get to, so GG cats. Continuing to prove that I do love tribal decks. They are so much fun. Often rather cheap, too. And man, cats is not going anywhere soon.